I don't really understand how he could get a $300,000 plus house on a $66,000 income. I don't get that whole thing. I'm not asking to take all his per diem or his bonuses. I would just like it to be fair.
And she rattles off the list of money that she says for school programs and stuff. Again, she has a live-in partner. They live in a mansion. I don't have anybody helping me.
It is not a mansion, Justin, and he doesn't. We have our own bills to pay here as well. It's not a free ride for me. You are Hope and Hudson's father, and you've made that very clear to Hope several times. You have to and need to provide for your kids.
I do.
Okay, but then don't try to imply that somebody else is doing it.
Please stop with the side conversation.
Family court is a treacherous place. If you are a man, if you are a father who is getting child support levied upon him, you should have a keen eye to everything that happens in cases just like the one that we're getting ready to go over. Now, in this child support case, the father, Justin Sims, is arguing to the court that they should not include bonuses and reimbursements in his income when calculating child support. He also is trying to figure out how much the mother, Kristen, is currently spending on the children because it's just not adding up. Meanwhile, Kristen is already with another relationship. This case is a little bit longer, but there's so many different things to learn off of this and different factors that we should all be assessing, because it's a case not only about why a man needs to invest into a lawyer to help protect him, but also why you should never have another child with a woman who has already put you on child support for the first one, but also how women can get free life rides on the back of the income of a hard-working man. The state gives no shits about you. Protect yourself, my G's. Let's get active on this one. Without further ado,
acknowledgement of paternity regarding the child, Kristen Nicole Duval. That's attached as Exhibit A. And I see the attachment B, the agreed order in suit affecting the parent-child relationship from February 14th of 2018. It looks like the parties were joint managing conservators in that order. Ms. Duval had the exclusive right to determine the residence of the child within Montgomery County or any county contiguous to Montgomery County, Texas. There were some travel provisions and passport provisions. Child support was set at $700 a month beginning February 1st of 2018. Mr. Sims paid that to Ms. Duval. Health insurance, Ms. Duval was providing it, I guess, through her job, a cost of $120 per month. Mr. Sims was ordered to pay $120 each month beginning February 1st of 2018 for cash medical payments. And there were permanent injunctions about consuming alcohol within 24 hours, transporting the child in a motor vehicle not equipped with the ignition interlock device. Okay, so I take judicial notice of that prior order, and then I also take judicial notice of Exhibit C, which is the pay record as of June 14th, 2023, attached to the pleading.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that the parties have agreed that Ms. Duval will continue to cover both children under the medical support, and that cost to her is $223, and that they will continue doing the joint managing conservatorship as well as the standard possession order for the visitation. Your Honor, I would like to call Mr. Sims to the stand. Mr. Sims, can you state your name for the record?
Justin Sims.
Is what I just said to the judge correct, that y'all agreed that Ms. Duval will cover the medical support?
That she'll provide the medical support through her employer, but that she'll elect to use that insurance, but it sounds like we'll both provide it.
And is it also correct that y'all will agree to continue to doing the joint managing conservatorship and to do the standard possession order?
To my knowledge, that's correct.
Okay. Mr. Sims, are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
And who's your employer?
Integrity Specialists.
And did you provide our office with a copy of your pay stubs for 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And on those pay stubs, does it reflect that your monthly average is $13,800.63 a month?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, may I share my screen?
Well, you may do so.
Mr. Sims, is this the pay stub that you provided to us?
Yes.
So at this point, they get into a 15-minute discussion talking about the numbers. I'm going to summarize it for you guys in a couple seconds. The father is paying a total amount of $700 plus $120 for medical, totaling to $820 in child support fees in 1 month. Now, mind you, that's for one kid. He has two. Now, it was calculated from $165,000 a year total salary. But the problem is that it includes bonuses as well as per diem. Per diem is a daily allowance or fixed amount of money given to an individual to cover their expenses expenses, typically while traveling for business. So his employer is giving him a per diem. So the employer has to report the per diem in his salary, but that is inflating his total salary. The father then explains that he only netted about $66,000 for the year in total. So let's go ahead and see what the father has to say about this situation.
The state doesn't represent either of you, so I'm going to give you both a chance to speak. Mr. Sims, is there anything you'd like to say?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
I don't know what, I'd like to refrain from trying to make this a complaint deal, but, obviously some of the things I'd like known, I don't know how pertinent they are to legalities or how much it's just me wanting them considered. It's maybe a mixture of both. But again, with that number that you showed, that 165,000, looks like a grand number again, but I only netted $66,000 last year. So when things like per diem are taken into account as an income, which it isn't an income for me, it's just to pay for lodging, meals. That's not, I know everybody pays for lodging, a home, where in my case, I work on the road most of the year, and I still have to pay for my mortgage because I have to return to a home, which I'm not reimbursed for. So the money that I pay out, in hotels can be a couple $1,000s a month, sometimes more than that. Again, that's money that I pay out that I'm not reimbursed for till about 3 weeks later. So when you look at that whole number of 165, that's an accumulation of everything that was given back to me, but it doesn't reflect all of what I distributed before receiving that reimbursement.
Exactly why this guy needs a lawyer. He needs someone with a legal understanding to explain exactly what he just explained. Gets worse though. Let's proceed.
That's very important because, we've had these conversations, myself and Kristen, about, well, you make per diem and extra money and this, that. And I just, that shouldn't be looked at that way. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that a whole number like that.
Sir, we're in the middle of a hearing. Please don't interrupt. You may continue, Mr. Sims.
I'm curious, or it doesn't make much sense to me that you would take that whole number and then not account for everything that I've, put out. And the year prior, there was probably a big number, same thing. I only netted $37,000 the prior year. So, and again, and I just took not a demotion, but I had to step down from a management position just because of availability. And really a lot of it's just mental stress. It's hard for me to work on the road away from home most of the year, all year. My goal is to be able to leave that and to come home. It hasn't jumped. I'm still paying a mortgage all on my own from the same home that I bought for the four of us. And so I'm still paying all of that. And I just want it to be considered that big number is not the real number. That's very important to me because that number is, $100,000 larger than what I made. That's a big, big difference.
So how will you be paid next year? Is it salary?
No, I get hourly pay, and a lot of my pay comes from an immense amount of overtime, which I'm also, I'm getting older and things, and I'm not as able to work all that overtime that I've been working. My goal is to get out of that to be home. And when I do, that number is going to be even less. I make that amount because I work probably 20, 30 hours of overtime a week.
Whoa.
I almost work 2 jobs to be able to make that money.
Whoa.
And that's not sustainable for me in the future. It's barely sustainable for me now. And to set a high bar for me keeps me in the same struggle here. I'm just one guy. I have no support, whereas she has a partner, a live-in partner. They live in a nice, big, huge house. I have no financial support. I've asked her to show me records of what she spends on the kids. And the only reason I bring that up now is because that was just asked from me. You just asked her if she could show how much I spend. Well, I would like to know how much she spends.
This man is working himself to death, 70 to 80 hours per week, barely making 60-something thousand dollars per year, has $1,400 in child support expenses between both children. This is absolutely crazy. He bought a house for her, the Kristen Duvall lady, him, and their 2 kids to live in. So he's paying off the house. She apparently moved out and is now in another relationship. She practiced hypergamy, met another guy, and moved into his big-ass house, leaving him all alone with the same exact child support payments. You cannot make this shit up.
on my kids. You know, it's not that I would want them to be neglected in any kind of way. I know that they're not. Not trying to get out of anything. I've always been a provider. I always will be. I go above and beyond to be able to provide what I do for my children.
This is so sad.
Above and beyond. And I just want to consider that I'm just one guy here with no team support, no parental support, no brothers and sisters, no aunts and uncles. I'm just one guy, where she's able to, you know, she has all of that. And I feel like I'm kind of being punched down on here a little bit. I'm being honest. And, you know, I'm not, and when we're talking about back child supports and back amounts and all these things, I need it to be considered that I furnished everything monetarily, a home, provisions, groceries, food from me. Without her being on any kind of bill, I handled everything.
Damn.
And I'm still having to handle it all with no help. It's just me. And, you know, now we're asking for more and more money. It's hard.
Do you have a W-2?
I will. I haven't received 2023's W-2 yet, but I can provide 2022's.
Okay. Because I didn't think per diem was included in a W-2 unless it went over what was spent as reimbursement.
Well, that wasn't a W-2 that she showed. That was just.
No, I know. And I'll admit I don't understand a lot of what's on here because no, it did not get testified to.
It's confusing.
So I'm trying to run some numbers, but
But other things that include reimbursable expenses are part of my management role was I would have to purchase supplies. That could be $1,000 worth of supplies that, again, comes out of my pocket until I'm reimbursed that money for those supplies. I don't necessarily like it. Other companies have company credit cards. That would be more convenient for my situation. That's just not the way the company operates at this time. So expenses as far as when I'm on the road in different states and whatever, I work on a pipeline mitigation company across the entire United States. And so depending on what state I'm in, that's where I have to buy supplies. Sometimes it's like I don't know that I need it until that day, but we're expected to furnish that for, you know, customer compliance. And, you know, again, sometimes I'll spend couple $1,000s, and then I don't get that back for 3 weeks until I get paid. And the reason I don't get paid like every 3 weeks is because we submit our time on the 1st or the 15th of the month and the very end of the month. And it takes usually about a week for whatever reason to process all that through QuickBooks. And so I usually get paid about every 3 weeks. So yeah, and I can furnish those receipts from things I've had to purchase and got money back for because they don't include those receipts on those pay stubs, but I have them or can get them. So when I do my math on what I netted last year, a net of 66,000.
But so we're supposed to base this on gross income and then get to a net with certain deductions, and they're not all the same as IRS. So I can't just take your net just as much as I'm not sure I can just take this gross. I don't even know what this is year to date. I'm trying to figure out how they got that number. Ms. Arredondo, if you know and you could share that with me, that would be helpful because I'm trying to do math as he talks and listen to everybody.
So
I'm just not getting that number, but maybe I need to count more things.
I mean,
If you have time, I want you guys to go back and just watch as he's pouring his heart out, the looks on everyone else's faces as he's in a very masculine way, a very stoic oriented way, explaining the sunken place that the family court system on the backs of the state have put him in. This is a father that is taking care of his responsibilities. They have documented evidence and proof that he's taking care of his responsibilities. She's moved on to another relationship, currently living in a mansion, and he's working to death, unable to see his children as much as what he wants. They're lifeless down here, as he explains that. And I'm not saying that they need to be filled with emotion, but I just wanted to reinforce no one will thank you or reinforce you for being a good father, maybe except for your children. But this guy needs to put money aside to invest into a lawyer to more formally explain everything that he just detailed. But I get it. Lawyers are super expensive, but think about how much money you'll save in the long run once you get the help. But let's watch as the father continues to present his case.
how the pay stub got the year-to-date number or how we got our monthly income.
Even the pay stub, and maybe I just need to take a moment to read all this because I'm not. And do you have any W-2s that show what they reported as gross?
I can check. I don't know if I can see better detailed on my pay stubs with that information than the W-2s. I can see year-to-date expenses, reimbursable expenses, all that. So in 2023, when I added up all my pay stubs, there was $29,700 in per diem. Again, that's not an income to me. I don't see how somebody can get money from me that I don't even get. My reimbursable expenses were $9,428. Again, that's not money that I received as like payment. That's money that I paid and I just got back. So I have nearly $40,000 of that is reimbursable expenses. When I do my math and I take 25% out of my net, it breaks down to, for both kids, 25% breaks down to $1,375 a month. The
Ma'am,
year
what are you asking for?
prior, 25% would have been $783 a month. But I paid more than that. So if I'm due some back money, it'd be good to know that too. Because I paid for vehicles. I paid thousands of dollars for vehicles, thousands of dollars for provisions and groceries and household stuff. But I don't get any return on that. I don't get any back retro anything for all the things that I provided for my kids. But sounds like I'm being expected to pay backwards stuff that is baffling to hear that I owe.
Because they put no pressure on the mother to pay a goddamn thing. And it's just so sad to watch. How did we get here?
Anything back. I want this to be.
Sir, hold on a second.
Sure.
Yeah, when I add up the pay, maybe I missed something. The adjustments year to date and the taxes year to date, I don't get the 166.
Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Give me one moment.
I got the number they got.
No, I'm not getting it. I'm getting one.
That number is literally, if you look at the pay on the left-hand side with the payable OTTX all the way down, if you use the year-to-date all the way to the vacation hourly, that's what I got.
Oh, so that number is not even including the adjustments or the taxes withheld? Yes. Okay. So it's not including, I see. So it says no gross.
Yes.
And it's not including so it's not including the per diem.
No.
Does Mr. Sims understand that?
That year-to-date was just the bonuses, the overtime, vacation hours. That number reaches all of that.
Okay.
I just did the math.
Okay. And I do see that matches. Okay. So maybe I'm misunderstanding, but he's saying I shouldn't include, he's saying I should include a lot of things. The first is bonuses based on that letter. The second is per diem, but if I'm understanding correctly now, per diem is not in that number. And then the third possibly is this questionable overtime. Is that true, Mr. Sims? Is that what your argument is?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see, if you're able to pull up the document, do you see that per diem is not included in that number?
Let me traverse from this screen here. So I'm going to look at my 2022 W-2. Or what document are you referencing mainly, so I can look at the same one?
The only one I have is your paycheck stubs.
The last pay stub that I sent?
I don't know what you sent to them, so it's hard. I can't answer that. The one that Ms. Arredondo sent to me. Can you explain, Ms. Arredondo, what you sent to me?
The last pay check. The last pay step check. Yeah. The last pay check stub is what you're looking at.
The last paycheck stub I'm seeing was a net pay of $3,743.
Look at the one
that was
dated
paid on
December.
January 4th.
Yeah, the one dated December 15th has a breakdown of your year-to-date paid on December 20th.
So 31,000 of that 165 was a bonus.
I understand that.
From the previous year. $24,000 in regular time, $18,000 in overtime.
Sorry, where do you see 21,000?
24,000 in big billable regular time in Texas.
What line is that?
So in pay, just pay, hours, rate.
Okay, I see it.
So year to date, there's 18,000 in overtime in Texas. I'm going to calculate this at the same time. 18,684 plus holiday, I guess, regular time in Alabama, 1,944 plus regular time in Texas was 24,056. Bonus, and then the bonus also, that, and that's all stuff before taxes too. You understand? So I have
we apply taxes afterwards. That's why we work off gross and get to net for the family code.
Yeah. So again, so that gross, that 165 is the gross, not the net. But I'm gonna get there. 24 bonus 31,587, 6,584, 6,072. Okay, yeah. So that's all gross. All those year-to-date numbers are gross. So it doesn't show a number. Oh, so if you wanted to find the net, you would subtract the adjustments and the taxes from the gross right above it in summary. So you take that 165, 607, 48, subtract 46,312.71 equals 119 minus 24,972.71 0.82. So that's coming out to $94,000, $94,321. But that 94,321 is including a 2022 bonus of 31,587. So if you take that away, which I probably won't get this year, I'm not eligible for a bonus. So take 94,000 minus 31,587.48, and I get $62,734. That's what I got last year. 62,000. You know, when you work all that overtime too, it throws you in that other bracket. They almost kind of punish me for it. I make less money when I work overtime.
If I had any suggestions to this man, I would say that he needs to quit this job with working all of this damn overtime, go get a normal ass job with just a salary, and then request 50-50 custody from this woman. The brazenness for her to transition rooms into her study or her office with the fine mahogany in the background while my man looks like he's in a bathroom is wild to me. Paying child support while living together is also wild to me. As a man, I have no idea why he would sign up for that arrangement, but I can only think that some men think that they are so indebted to the woman in front of them, i.e. being a simp, that they allow the woman to just run all over them. But the plot is about to get thicker than a bowl of oatmeal and grits, and some of these things I alluded to, but pay attention.
Ms. Duvall, is there anything you'd like to say?
He was asking for a breakdown of what I put towards the children.
I'm not sure. Actually, before we get to all that, in terms of back support, Ms. Arredondo, wouldn't they have been entitled to some possession credits when they lived together?
Yes, so when we calculated the retro based off of what he was using the income he was previously ordered to make in the 2018 order, and if you add another child to that income and times that by the 16 months, we got an amount of $2,800.
But wouldn't he have been entitled to possession credits when they were residing together and he was paying child support?
So when we did the retro, we did it from when she moved out. So from October 1st of 2022.
Is there some reason you're ignoring the time they lived together and he paid her child support?
No, when we were calculating the retro, we did it from the time that they officially moved out. And then we added the child support that he was doing of the $700. And that's how we got the $2,800.
Okay, what time frame did they live together?
We just had it when she moved out in September 22nd of 2022.
Okay, that's not my question though. Can you find out what time frame they did live together?
2020, January 2020 to the date she stated, 23.
We lived in that house together mid-March of 2020, and I moved out September 22nd, 2022.
Moved in January 2020.
We are giving him credit for the time they were living together, which is why we calculated from the time she moved out.
How is he getting credit for the time they lived together if you're not calculating it?
And it was 2020 because she moved in right when COVID hit, and then I just spent $66,000 on the down payment on the house, and then nobody was able to work. So I had to foot the bill for the whole time we were at home 6 months for COVID as well.
I don't know what in the DEI is happening down here, but imagine having your future being calculated by somebody who has no idea what the hell is happening from a financial calculations perspective.
It was in January of 2020.
So doing the amount that I gave you from the October 1st of 2022 till now, we gave him the pay credit of what he paid for the child support.
But that's just for that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they living together during a period of time he paid child support?
So I didn't pay child support.
Well, I'm still trying to do calculations as we're talking, so bear with me before we get to more numbers that I'm going to have to keep track of.
Well, it won't be numbers, but the situation is I went and created an order of child support for our daughter, Hope. And I paid child support, the number that you saw that I was paying for Hope. We were able to mitigate our relationship stuff. And so she moved in and we had another child. This retro stuff, but during the time she told me, because my work was wanting to garnish wages from my paycheck. I said, Kristen, if they're garnishing wages, you all are living with me. We're going to live together. I can't have them keep taking child support out of my thing. So to my knowledge, she went down to the court in Conroe and had them cancel child support is what I was under the impression of canceled child support. Okay, so we canceled it. Now we're a unit. There is no request for child support. Nobody's taking anything out of my checks. There's no questions about that. We're functioning like a family, and we have another kid. Where this new order comes in is when she left, she said, well, now that I'm leaving, let me reopen the case. And I didn't realize that when she reopened it, they were going to say, oh, well, then you owe all that money backwards. They weren't counting for the time that they lived with me and that I was the main provider for all the provisions and home and food. But that's what happened is she went and reopened something that was already existent. That, to my knowledge, I thought it just went away. I didn't know that they put it on pause and then it continues to accumulate. You know, I wasn't aware of that. I don't think either of us were.
You hear that, boys? The state is giving us even more reason to never hash it out with the baby mom. You see, if the state wasn't as goddamn greedy on the back of Title 4D, maybe they'd put some logic into that situation and make some caveats for a situation just like the brother right over here.
If I'm being honest.
Your Honor, he was given a possession credit. We added it to when you saw the pay stubs, he was given a possession credit for the time period they lived together.
Is that the $43,000 or the $44,000 on your pay record?
Yes, the $44,350.90.
Okay.
And that's what zeroed it out during that time period.
Okay. Mr. Val, did you finish? So yes, okay. Now,
So they canceled the child support. The man is fully supporting the family. She turns on child support again, and now he has to pay back what he was doing during that time. Wow. But because she turned it on, now he still has to pay back child support. Insane. Anyway, they're about to ask the woman for her side of the story.
that I have a better understanding, is there anything you'd like to say?
I was just going into that I do have the children about 90% of the time. He does work away from home. He is traveling the majority of the year. So, you know, the expenses that I have with the kids, it's a cell phone for the oldest daughter so that she can be in contact with him. There's a college tuition fund that I set up for my son, myself, and that's about $220 a month starting this June. There's school lunches. There's a $900 daycare tuition a month for my son. There's the haircuts. There's the medical. There's, you know, school activities. There's growth spurts. There is a lot that goes into every day of being a parent, obviously, and my intention has never been to bleed him dry. And I've told him that several times. I don't want to take him for everything he has. I just expect a fair child support in these children that we decided to have. The relationship did not work out, but the kids are still here, and I am still raising them every single day. I don't really understand how he could get a $300,000 plus house on a $66,000 income. I don't get that whole thing. I'm not asking to take all his per diem or his bonuses. I would just like it to be fair.
Okay. Do you have a proposed number?
The reason why you don't understand and walk with me here is because the man has supported the family the whole time that you were with him. And obviously, you just don't care how much that he's worked and overworked to purchase that $300,000 house for you as well as your children. But it's obvious that he's breaking his back to keep his head up above water to align to the current child support arrangement. Have you no sympathy? Have you no empathy? Anyway, the case is about to resolve, so let's go through that.
What is your stance on overtime? You're hoping not to do it, but you're still doing the same job?
I have to right now. That's my job. I still have to pay for everything. But I work like almost 2 jobs by how much overtime I put in a month. And it's not sustainable for me. I've been doing it for 7-8 years. The way I was able to afford this home for my family is because I saved all my money. And I put everything towards this home. Everything I had, drained myself. And then COVID hit. So I drained myself even more. And I can't, the longevity in this for me is dwindling away. I'm getting older. I don't want to be on the road away from home all year long, working overtime, slaving away, working 6-7 days a week. It's not sustainable for me. It was whenever I was providing for my family and, you know, that was the drive getting me through it. Now I'm completely alone and I want to be home, visiting my kids, living a normal life like normal people.
Right.
It's not sustainable for me any longer.
Makes my blood
because
boil.
again, it's just me. When she rattles off the list of money that she says for school programs and stuff, again, she has a live-in partner. They live in a mansion. I don't have anybody helping me.
It is not a mansion, Justin, and we have our own bills to pay here as well. It's not a free ride for me. You are Hope and Hudson's father, and you've made that very clear to Hope several times. You have to and need to provide for your kids.
I do.
Okay, but then don't try to imply that somebody else is doing it.
Ma'am, please stop with the side conversation.
The world owes you nothing, especially as a man. Owes you no understanding. Who cares that you supported her and the entire family during that time? She's done with you. She's moved on, not to a mansion, but to a McMansion. But she's there. And because she's moved on, your sacrifices during the relationship mean absolutely nothing. And it sucks as a man to come to the realization of relationships and how they can end badly, especially if you have children. But this is the reality. You go in here with rose-colored glasses, you sacrifice everything for your family, and this is how the state treats you. This is how your ex treats you.
Mr. Sims, is that what because you had previously said you had agreed to a standard possession order on the record. Are you meaning to say you agreed to what's in your prior order, or are you wanting to change it?
I had no request to change anything.
Okay. And Ms. Duval, also just for clarity, it's going to be what's in your prior order?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Just want to, before I modify something that no one wants to modify, don't want to do that. Does anyone have anything else they want to say?
I'll just add one thing, I guess, since this keeps the arrears and whatever, that gets kind of confusing to me. But if we're at a 3320 amount for arrears, I basically hear that as something that I still owe from back. Would you be in agreement to offset that, being that the 3 years that you lived with me, you claimed the kids as dependents, even though I paid all the bills? Because I didn't claim them and feel like I maybe could have, and brought it up several times and just never was agreed upon.
Wow.
I don't feel like I owe anything backwards.
She claimed them?
All I'm asking for is from the day that we moved out of the house. I'm not asking for anything prior to that.
That's where I thought we were current. But somebody earlier told me that I was ahead $120. So all the back stuff it just seems like it's trying to just extract whatever out of me. I'm not getting it. Makes it seem like I'm delinquent on something, and it's kind of offensive, and I just don't think I'm delinquent on anything at all.
Bleeding them dry, claiming that she's not.
I'm going to make my ruling.
Gaslighter.
I'm appointing you to, per your agreement, joint managing conservators, with Ms. Duval having the right to determine the residency of the children within Montgomery County and any county that touches Montgomery County, which is the same as your prior order. I'm going to order that the visitation continue per the prior order, and not be modified for your additional child. I see that there's a request for non-disclosure in your pleading, Ms. Arredondo. I don't believe I heard any testimony about that. Is it still being pursued?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So everyone's comfortable with their address and phone number and where they work being in the court order?
One more request. I would like for both of us to go to a co-parenting, some type of instruction, be it online or something. I think it'd be beneficial to both of us and our kids to go through some type of co-parenting, something to be able to co-manage the situation better than we have this past year.
Okay, before we get to that, did everyone, sir, I'm going to ask my question again that no one responded to. Ms. Duval, are you comfortable with your address and phone number and where you work being in the court order?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Sims, are you comfortable with your address and phone number and court order being in the order? I'm not court order, and employment information being in the court order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And just to be clear, there's no outside person harassing or threatening you or, okay. And Mr. Duval, there's no outside person, not Mr. Sims, who's threatening you or harassing you?
No.
Okay. I'm going to deny the non-disclosure request. I'm setting child support based on a gross monthly income of $8,770. I'm setting cash medical. I'm finding that Ms. Duval provides insurance for the children, and I'm setting cash medical of $223 each month, beginning February 1st of 2024. That leaves net resources of $6,626.61. So child support for 2 children is $1,657 per month, beginning February 1st of 2024. For 1 child, when there's a step down, that will be $1,325. If the income drastically changes either way, this could be reviewed for a modification again. I excluded some things, but not everything. So this could very well turn out either on target or off target. I am going to find that he is in arrears as of yesterday, $520 for child support and $120 for medical support. I'm going to order back child support of $2,300, which gives a cumulative judgment as of yesterday of $2,820 against Mr. Sims. I'm ordering that he pay that back at a rate of $25 per month with a step up as children emancipate. I'm finding that Mr. Sims is in medical support arrears as of yesterday, $120, and I'm ordering that he pay that back at a rate of $5 per month beginning February 1st of 2024.
And that's only because I haven't got paid this. Okay.
Yeah, that 120, and even that 5 something is only because, the payment for January hasn't come in yet. I believe, does that cover everything?
And real quick, you said that you were doing the gross off of $8,770, correct? Okay. And can we have an entry date of January 25th, just so we have time to do the order?
Yes. Yeah. And be careful with that visitation. I don't know how you want to do it, but just be careful with that. But yes, we can set it for entry on January 25th. If you all sign off on it ahead of time, there's no need to show up. If you want to show up just to make sure I received it, that's fine. If there's a dispute on drafting, that's what the entry date is for. So if you see the AG's draft and you think it's drafted incorrectly, and everyone has not signed off on it, show up to argue how you think it should be drafted. It's the same Zoom code. Okay. So everybody is free to go for the day. Thank you so much for coming in. And I will either see you on January 25th, and if not, good luck with everything going forward.
So I'm a little confused on those numbers.
So to summarize all of that, the judge decided that he pay $1,657 in monthly child support for 2 children. After his explanation of reimbursements, per diem, overtime, this man is absolutely getting fleeced in this situation. But gentlemen, listen to me. I don't care what the lawyer cost. Whatever that cost is, it's worth it to not lose a case to an uninformed judge and an AG that could half give a shit. And it's so sad to see. I feel for this father. Guys, drop me your comments down below. What do you think about this case? Was there anything else in there that you think provided you with a learning lesson within your life and how you look at relationships, marriage, and who you choose to have kids with? I'd be really interested to see your guys' comments after watching this video. And last but not least, if you want to join my men's self-development community, link to it down in the description box down below. Beam up, see what's in store, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.
You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jet. The big guy, the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jet. The big guy, the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. That bar, need a fibrillation ASAP. Get boxed with a straight gap. I'm reminded of mind state they lack. Every time that they incline, we go way back. All they wanna be is just